Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I am Ed Raby, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Feel free to like or dislike the video as you see fit, so feel free to hit those buttons. Feel free to comment below, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell for more content as it is released. You're also free to share my videos as much as you like, because the purpose of this channel is educational in regards to atheist and deconversion issues and any issues related to those issues. A hearty shout out to the Rabyd Nation. Join the nation by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, hit the join button. And the membership options that lead to citizenship in the Rabyd Nation will be presented to you. Today is another edition of Rabyd Reflections, just hitting something I've been thinking about. And today I want to talk about the truth of how religion keeps you deceived. And this is something that I have had a lot of experience with. But recently, I was doing an interview, and during the interview, I kind of hit this stride, I guess, with these thoughts about how religion keeps you deceived as far as community. And since then, I've been kind of thinking about that, of how religion keeps you deceived. And I think religion has this, because we talk often as atheists how religion is how faith is auto-deceptive. And religion is an organization. All religions as an organization attempt to do one thing, and that is keep strengthening your faith. Okay, so by their own admission, with faith being auto-deceptive, they're attempting to reinforce that auto-deceptivity. But how do they do that? How is it that because I've been doing, deconstructing spiritual disciplines for like 7 weeks now on Wednesdays. And part of the way I start off that series is, the whole auto-deceptivity of what these disciplines did. What part of our humanity did they tap into and drew us into the religion? I talk about how, prayer is really just self-talk, and self-talk can be very beneficial. I talk about meditation, clearing your brain, getting your mind to just, relax and open up. And I just talked about solitude, how getting away from things can be a benefit, actually taking the vacation time instead of, letting the vacation time pile up. Just learning to deplug, all these different things, fasting, taps into this desire to know more, or supercharge something, or put aside something so you can do something else. There's these real human desires, these evolved things that religion taps into. But the thing I was talking about in this interview was how religion uses community, because it's a reinforced community deception. Okay, what I mean, this is me putting my political science degree to work, because the one aspect of social psychology, when you get a political science degree that you talk about a lot, is social psychology and social dynamics. Okay, and groupthink is a thing. Okay, you get into a group of people, and they start all thinking the same way and coming up with the same solutions, and they don't want to ruffle the feathers of anybody in the group. So everybody just kind of thinks the same way and goes along the same direction. The problem with that is you miss other things. You don't have, the best groups have people that actually conflict with each other a little bit so that you get a bouncing of ideas. The problem with religion, from a social psychology point of view, and how it keeps people deceived by, continuing to reinforce their auto-deceptivity, at least this is my theory at present. You can, of course, this is my opinion, so you're welcome to comment on it. Maybe you can enlighten me a little bit more, but I'm just looking at it from a standpoint when religion reinforces that auto-deceptivity, what they're reinforcing is groupthink. They're reinforcing the cognitive bias, the cognitive, your predisposed nature, to continue to believe. And so when people think they found the truth and they start auto-deceiving themselves, this is the truth, then religion comes along and says, yeah, you're right, that's the truth. Okay, and they just kind of push you down the path. And then you have this entire group of people that you hang out with on a reg, at least once a week, that reinforces the same notion. Yeah, I bought this product too, and it's really great. I bought this product too, and it's really great. I did Alan Parr in his salesman pitch on Monday, but that's kind of what it is, isn't it? Okay. And, I got a comment this week where, this is me weaving in the comments, but I got a comment this week of why don't you just tell people some of the truth? Why don't you just project the truth? Why don't you? And you know what? My response to that is I thought it was. Okay. Maybe your auto-deceptivity doesn't allow you to see it. But here's my point. And I'm trying to be, you know, diplomatic about this, but I guess I can drop some truth bombs, I guess, today for theists. Maybe Christian theists in particular, because that's my specialty, I guess, having been one for so long. The truth is, you don't have any evidence for God, but you've been convinced that there is one by your religion and by your truth, and by your church and your own auto-deceptivity. You want to believe in this God because we human beings don't think the world's fair. People get away with crap, and we want that final justice. We're afraid of death, and so we create a mythology in our brain that allows us to transcend death, even though that may not be true. And we might be just like all the rest of the animals on planet Earth, that when we die, it's over. Um, we have all these human desires, for long life, prosperity, whatever. And religion allows us to trick our brains into thinking that we can overcome those few hurdles. And it's a survival trait, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't make us very effective at doing it because we deceive ourselves. And then religion comes along and reinforces that deceptive nature and does it for its own advantage. Okay, it's inherent to any religious system. There's some sort of advantage that the religion gains from you being deceived into that nature. And they come along and they push it through a lot of different means. Okay, they encourage you to read the book, but don't read it critically. Just read it for God to change you. They encourage you to talk to this God. And there's the other truth bomb for all you theists. The fact is, I have listened to hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of descriptions of what God is. And I have to tell you, all of you have created this own God in your own image in your brain. That's another truth bomb for you. That the psychology of it is that you have created this God. You guys make bold-faced assertions about God. And when an atheist like myself asks for evidence, well, I don't need evidence. I just know that this is true. I'm just going to make this assertion. And religion is full of assertions with no evidence. And that's another truth bomb. When you look at the truth about religion, is religion continues to make assertions and reinforces those assertions and uses those assertions without evidence to reinforce your faith as a believer, to keep you deceived. Okay? When companies have you as a regular customer, and I know this from working at the world's largest brick and mortar, they want to continue to say, "Hey, man, glad you came in today." And and don't get me wrong, some of it's genuine. I like a genuine sales pitch that's actually beneficial, but a lot of it's charlatanry. And the thing with religion is it continues to sell an invisible product and seemingly has no cost other than you believe it. And so it makes it easy. Okay, and that's what retailers do. We try to make the shopping experience easy for the customer. That's why online shopping is becoming a big deal in almost every retailer, is because it's easy. You just drive up, we load your shit up, and out you go. And that's what people want. They want the whole experience to be easy, get what they want, get their needs met. And that's what religion continues to do. It's amazing. I've watched some of this change take place. As an example, worship music. When I was a kid, the whole idea of modern contemporary worship was anathema. Okay, it was a controversial issue. They're using that devil's music to, whatever. And it used to drive me nuts. But then I realized all of a sudden nobody really talks about it's the devil's music anymore. You ever notice that? It's that whole line. Maybe there's some churches that still point that out, but it's gotten less and less because that vibe, that modern music, staying up with the times with music does keeps you in the faith. You come in and, oh man, I know this tune. And it's kind of like, it's funny how religion continues to reinforce the emotion side of it and never the intellect. I mean, I've said it over and over on this channel that, when you look at the sales pitch of why you should accept the gospel of Jesus Christ, for example, it's always an emotional appeal. Buy today. I mean, Alan, go back and watch my video on Alan Parr, and he has a classic salesman pitch, and it's all emotionally based. He's trying to get over emotional objections. He's trying, buy now because tomorrow may be too late. So he engages the fear factor. That's an emotion. Over and over, this emotional pitch. But it's not just the evangelistic pitch that's that way. It's the nature of religion itself that is an emotional pitch. It is, every single one of them appeals to your emotions. Now, emotions are a part of humanity, and I've gotten some comments, well, I've taken truth of this and that. I used to be a fan of Babylon 5, and I think the doctor on the show, who is the chief doctor on Babylon 5, was what was called the foundationalist. And so he was looking for the common truths that all religions have. That's what his whole thing was. And so, yeah, I can see, cherry picking, whatever truths you find in whatever religion and put it in. I just don't see, I don't think I need the religious part to do that, to find the truth. And I just get rid of the auto-deceptivity. When I stopped being a believer, the auto-deceptivity stopped, okay, because I didn't have faith in anything anymore. That's another thing you theists still continue to get wrong. I don't have faith in anything. I had a guy get after me, you have faith in this, and you have faith in that. No, I don't. Okay. But the whole idea of, faith now, because of its auto-deceptive nature, I shun. Okay, I get away from it. I don't like it anymore because I realize it leads you to believe all kinds of things. And, the truth is, for you theists out there, because I'm going to my motivation at the end of this little spiel here. A lot of you have accused me of having this emotional thing, and that's why I no longer believe anymore. No. Because I've rationally come to the understanding that faith is auto-deceptive. Okay, and so rationally I say, no, this thing causes me to believe things that aren't true, that can't be verified as true, that can't even meet the basic standards of evidence that it would take to get into a court of law. Okay, and my issue with that then is I don't want to spend a lot of time believing in stuff that isn't true. I want to search and know and come up with an understanding. And religion used to give me that framework. That's what this whole channel is about when it comes to deconversion, is understanding the framework that religion gave you and learning how to deconstruct it and then build something else on a new framework. Okay? That's an inherent part of deconversion, deconstruction, reconstruction. And part of that is learning that rationally we came to the assessment that religion had an auto-deceptive nature, that it constantly reinforced and took advantage of faith, which is also auto-deceptive. In other words, the two kind of cycle together and keep you in this deceived frame of mind. The fact that there's so many religions in the world just indicates that whatever brand of deception is usually cultural, okay? Otherwise, it'd only be one. Okay, you'd have one religion and everybody would decide whether to believe it or not. But we don't have that. We have a lot of culturally based, integrated things with religion. It's why if I even turn into the single religion of Christianity, there's so many flavors. Because the auto-deceptive nature of faith has caused you to create an image of God in your brain that is unlike any other humans. Okay, and that's why you have disagreements, because this is a concoction of your imagination. Okay, and that's the truth. You don't want to believe that because faith has auto-deceived you, and then your religion comes along and continues to reinforce that auto-deceptivity. It's not until I began to rationally consider the truth claims of Christianity that I began to realize that, holy crap, they don't have any evidence for this. There's a lot of assertions. And that's the biggest trick of religion, to get you to accept assertions as if they're fact without examination. Oh, don't think about that. How many times have I done a reaction to somebody, between Joyce Myers and Alan Parr? And this is a common thing that preachers do. I know, I used to do it. Don't think about it too much, just believe. Okay? That seems weird that anybody would do that. I mean, you're getting a con sales pitch when somebody says, buy today, don't think about it. Just believe in the product and buy it. Okay? If a salesman did that to you, you'd be instantly skeptical if you have any kind of brains. But religion does it all the time, makes these assertions and stuff, and reinforces your faith, which is auto-deceptive by nature. You already want to believe this stuff because of human desires, and then it comes along and nails you. But the moment I began to realize there's no good evidence for the existence of God, in fact, there's alternate explanations for just about everything we give God credit for, in fact, pretty much everything, or at least we have a theory of how it works. The Bible isn't the Word of God. It's way too flawed. To me, when somebody says that the Bible is inerrant, I literally laugh now, because you are so auto-deceived that you can't see the flaws in the Bible. And you don't want to see them because you've been indoctrinated into it. Because I know I used to be a Christian education pastor, and I used to do the indoctrination. I wouldn't have called it that. I called it discipleship back then, but now I know what it is. It's indoctrination. And then you have, this whole idea of sin. God gave these commandments, and that's why and I break those commandments, so therefore I'm flawed, and I need to have somebody come along and fix that. I'm not going to take responsibility and come up with my own moral system. I'm not going to take the responsibility to assess the truth for myself, or get input from my fellow human beings of what the truth could be. Nope. I've already understand what the truth is, and my religion tells me I already understand what the truth is. I don't need anybody else telling me. I've already bought the product that I need, and I don't need any of the other products. Classic salesman stuff. Keeping you loyal to that one product. Okay, it's the whole religion just reinforcing your auto-deceptive nature of faith that you have. That's the truth. And I come along, and my motivation is to tell you that truth, to drop those truth bombs. God doesn't, there's no evidence that God exists. There's no evidence that the Bible is His Word. There's no evidence that the Quran is the Word of God. There's no evidence that any of these holy books are even holy. There's no evidence that any salvation plan from sin actually solves the problem. There's no evidence that you actually have a relationship with God. That's you deceiving yourself and creating yourself. I mean, it's a strange relationship where you're doing all the work to reach out to somebody, but God can't even be basically bothered to come to you and do anything. Maybe that's because the relationship you have is only in your brain. Prove that it's not a relationship with an imaginary friend. Give me some evidence of how, looking at your other relationships where you can actually see the person that you have a relationship, interact with them, know something about them based on their behavior and how they behave towards you. You don't have that with God, and yet you think you do. That's deceptive. That's you auto-deceiving yourself. That's the truth. And I'm coming along, my motivation is because I was so long into it. I was a pastor for 20 years. I was in Christianity for 40. Okay? For the last 2 years of my pastorate, the last 2 years of my Christianity, I was an atheist. And the reason I was an atheist had nothing to do with emotion. Emotion kept coming to me and saying, you need to get back into the faith because you are going to lose so much without your faith. The whole sunk cost fallacy thing, the whole, all these relationships you have with people, they're wonderful people, but I'm too damn honest, okay, to stay in that kind of gig. And once I realized that what I was pitching was snake oil, it was time to get out. And I come along now as the Rabyd Atheist, and I run this channel with two aims: to normalize atheism and normalize deconversion. And yes, that means I want atheism to win sometimes. I want skepticism at least to win. I want you to take a look at what you believe with a skeptical eye. And if it's a true belief, I don't know what you're afraid of. Because if it's true belief, it can handle rationality and logic. It's amazing how much religion wants you to not look at those things or look at those things like science and everything skeptically, isn't it? Because it has a vested interest in the way religion is constructed and not allowing you to engage your critical faculties. Because the moment you engage those critical faculties, they know the jig is up. Okay, I did not leave the faith because of religion. I'm not on this because of emotion, and I'm not doing this channel because of emotion either. I'm doing this channel because I now realize what the truth is, that the whole thing is a cultural game to keep you submitted, to keep you doing what you're supposed to do. It's as George Carlin said, a whole bunch of religious and political hustlers got together to create the Ten Commandments. And that idea of understanding that there's these people behind the curtain that are benefiting from you being auto-deceived and using religion to keep you there. They're benefiting from that. And you're not. You're really not benefiting. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your opportunities. You're wasting relationships that you could have with really great people. Oh, they just don't believe as I do, so I can't have anything to do with them. It's reinforcing your tribalistic nature, which, don't get me wrong, I understand tribalism has on occasion saved our asses, saved our biscuits. But for the most part, it keeps us looking at each other with distrust, which isn't healthy. Okay? And it reinforces that. It causes you to hate people simply because they don't believe as you do, or dislike them, or look down on them, or think you're superior because I've found the truth. You haven't found the truth. You've deceived yourself. There's the truth. And your religion reinforces that deception. It seeks to. And it does it by community, because you're surrounded by a bunch of people that believe as you do, tapping into your natural tribalistic nature as a human being. It uses techniques that continue to tap into your humanity in some way, but then projects it in a direction that's complete nonsense. But you think it's true because you've been taught and indoctrinated to accept it as true. And, I'm sure I'm going to continue to get the accusation of emotion. I'm going to continue to get the accusation of why do you do this? There's no truth to what you're doing. Yeah, there is a lot of truth to it. See, I am a person who was deceived. I am a person who was conned. And I'm out here because I care about people enough to tell them that they've been conned. And they need to stop being conned and face reality. If that bothers you, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stop. Okay? I have now come to a point in my YouTube career where I'm being a little bit successful, and I can have more and more influence on this discussion. And I'm going to continue to do so no matter where this ride takes me. But at the same time, I am also motivated personally because of my compassionate anti-theist nature. I say that in front of every video. I had somebody accuse me just today. I got 15 seconds into your video and you're just former everything. I'm only former one thing. Well, two things. I'm a former Christian and a former pastor. Okay? What I am now is an atheist. I don't accept your God claims. And I am also a compassionate anti-theist. In other words, I believe that the world would be better without religion, but I understand why people are in religion. And I'm compassionate about that. I've been there, I've done that, I've got the t-shirt. And that is the issue for me, is I have been conned, I've wasted my time, money, and opportunities. I've done all of that. And now I'm out here doing what I do because I want to tell you that you've been conned, that you're deceiving yourself, you're living in a fantasy world, okay? And your religion is enforcing that for its own benefit, not for yours, okay? There's a reason why certain religions have such a grip on people, because they make flipping money off of it. And that's what began to bother me the most, is I was making money off of deception, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. And I'm sorry, that's my motivation. My motivation is compassion, okay? I have compassion for people in the faith. It's why some comments I don't address, anymore, because I know I'm not going to have a fruitful discussion. There's other people, theists, that come here. I have a lot of questions about. Yeah, I'll dialogue with that dude, and I openly tell you, in my opening video, if you're having doubts about your faith, yeah, I'm going to kick you over the edge if I can, because I don't want you to be deceived. Okay, and I'm not saying I have all the truth. Okay, I'm not like the theist sitting there saying as an atheist I have all the truth. I have a lot of theories about things, and I try to test them myself. And I read, the things that, these are claims of truth that don't have anything to do with religion. I read them and say, does that have any merit? But I do the hard work now of assessing whether something is true with my brain. And that's the difference. I don't just accept assertions. Somebody, points out my assertions. I said, yeah, you know what? That is an assertion. Let's see if there's any evidence to back that up. And I may change. And that's what the beauty of being me, I guess, now, is I don't accept the auto-deceptive nature of faith. Well, you're going to reject every religion. Yes, I am. Until any religion comes forward with some basic evidential proof, some scientific proof, some historical testimony that's verified, that a miracle took place, or, at least something I can take to a court of law and use in a case. No, I'm not going to accept it until you meet that basic burden of proof for your claims. And until that happens, I am going to continue to push against the people that make assertions and claims with no evidence. And say, you're asking people to give up their time, their money, their energy over an assertion that you can't prove. And that's the truth. Now, you may not, I always love you people that comment on my motivations and my personality and whatever. You don't know me. Okay, and I don't know you. And so for you to kind of make those kind of assertions about me, that's just you being trained by your religion to, if a certain person is an atheist, then this is how you react. You've been indoctrinated, okay, and how to react to me. And instead of assessing, I got past that. I think fairly early on in my ministry career, I realized I wasn't going to make, converts, so to speak, by being antagonistic. Okay, you're just going to push people into into what they do. And for all you theists out there, I'm not mad at you. I get it. Okay, I understand it. And I think that's why some of you don't like me so much. Because if I can deconvert after 20 years of ministry and 40 years of being a Christian and Bible degrees and theology degrees and all that jazz, okay, what's my little faith compared to that? And I think that's why you don't like me. Because I represent something to you that can happen to you, and you don't want that because you're so into it and you're so deceived by your imaginary friend, and the religion keeps forcing it. And you don't like me saying that, and I get it. But at the same time, I'm not going to stop saying it because I care about you. Okay, I care about you living your life deceived. And that's why I do this channel. That's my motivations. This is the truth. This is how religion deceives you. It continues to reinforce your own fake desires that are auto-deceptive. Okay? That's what it does. And it uses a multitude of ways to do that. And those of us deconstructing are coming to a realization of that, and we're pushing all that aside. We're trying to get rid of it. Okay? And that's all we're doing. And we shouldn't be decried for being atheists. We shouldn't be looked down on for being atheists, but we are. People who are deconverting from their faith shouldn't be looked down upon. They're coming to an assessment of whether or not that religion is true, and they should be respected for the fact that they made that decision themselves. But nope, you're making the wrong decision. You're going away from the truth. How do you know the flip it's truth? You don't know. You're making an assertion, and you don't have any evidence for it. Go get some evidence to back it up. And I think, from my perspective, in the process of looking for evidence and you discovering there isn't any really good ones, you'll discover that maybe I've been auto-deceived. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just pushing you towards the edge. Okay, take the leap. Go into non-belief. Take the dive. See how it works for you. Okay? I gain nothing from this, other than getting on YouTube and spieling, and they pay me ad revenue. And a few of you have been kind enough to drop super thanks and super chat and all that other stuff. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, this activism of mine, I want to grow, and for that I need funding. But the reason I do the activism, the reason I do the non-for-profit education of why faith is auto-deceptive and how religion enforces that, the whole spiel that I did today, the reason I do this is because I care. I still have that pastoral desire, if you will, to care about people when they have a wrong idea. And to me, religion is all wrong. All of it is all wrong. And that's why I'm an anti-theist. We would be better off without it. It's a relic of our ancient past that needs to be discarded. We've grown up. We've hit the teenage years, and we need to get past the old irrational childhood that we used to have as a race and get, as a human race, get to something that's a little bit more rational and adult, dropping the black and white thinking about morality, the black and white thinking about God, getting rid of that old childish black and white stuff. And that's what religion does. It keeps you a child in your mentality. It keeps you thinking in black and white terms. It keeps you thinking you got to have this and you got to have that or it doesn't work. You got to have God or the thing doesn't work. No, that's like saying you need to have your imaginary friend in order for your life to work. At some point, we grow up and we toss it away and we move forward with adulthood. And that's all I'm trying to do, is getting us to, as a race, to be adults. And it is perfectly reasonable for somebody to become an atheist. It's perfectly reasonable for people to deconvert from their faith. And people out that are still in the faith should realize that it's perfectly reasonable and knock it off of trying to make them feel bad about it. And I will continue to do this channel until atheism and deconversion are normalized. And even then, when that happens, got to keep it up, because people always want to go back into religion because it answers questions without a lot of thought. And that's the problem with it. That's one of the many problems with it. Well, that's me pontificating for today here on Rabyd Reflections for the week, and some of the thoughts I've been having, and just the nature of faith and religion, continues to baffle me that people buy into it, I guess, now. But then I realize, yeah, you bought into it for a lot of years yourself, and it's perfectly understandable why. Your faith, you want to believe certain things, and your religion comes along and says, yeah, you're perfectly reasonable to believe in these assertions without evidence. Here, let's reinforce that. And yeah, I just want people to get over it and stop thinking about it in those terms. Start looking at any faith with a critical eye. When somebody makes an assertion without evidence, you should know it and immediately go searching to whether there's some evidence, and then move on with that. But, that's just my thoughts for it. I'd be interested, as always, in the comments how, people, react to these sort of things. But that's where I'm at today, because I spent all week thinking about this. It's like, yeah, I get it. And I'm trying to be very patient with some of you, but some of you are just jerks, because you're so insecure in your faith that you got to take it out on me. So, maybe you should look at that insecurity for a reason and say, maybe there's a reason why I'm insecure in my faith. And it's actually a rational reason, like maybe the faith is bullshit. Okay, and maybe you need to start looking at it that way. So, but that's my thoughts on it. I'd be interested in your comments. As always, I appreciate every like, share, and subscribe. You guys have been awesome. The channel's growing. We recently broke 3K this week. Thank you very much. To all my members, thank you guys, all three of you, that you continue to give me hope and allow me to do other videos that aren't necessarily as popular, but allow me to do them knowing that I'm still going to get something for that. And thank you, all of you that continue to watch this channel. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, and then it's over. And there is no afterlife. And because of that, you should make sure that you spend your time, your money, your opportunities in ways that benefit yourself, your people that you love and care for, and that make this a better world. And don't waste it on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's an auto-deceptive dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.